Reason. Industry rumors. Did this American artist feel threatened by Jungkook? Reason 3. Jungkook's disruptive success in the global streaming market. In the global music industry, streaming platforms have become the primary method for distributing and measuring the success of an artist's work. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and other platforms now determine who dominates charts, earns the highest revenue, and garners the most attention in both Western and non-Western markets. Jungkook's rapid ascent as a soloist on these platforms has disrupted expectations and recalibrated benchmarks, especially for US-based artists who have long relied on domestic market dominance to validate global success. Jungkook's success in the streaming economy is not accidental. His tracks have not only charted, but have consistently maintained strong positions across multiple regions. Unlike many Western artists, whose streaming peaks often follow heavy promotional campaigns and playlist placements, Jungkook's digital performance is largely driven by fan engagement and word of mouth. His music, despite being in Korean or featuring a blend of English and Korean, manages to attract millions of listeners worldwide without needing to conform to Western pop formulas. This global resonance places him in direct competition with American pop stars who once had limited competition outside their own markets. This shift challenges the historical structure of the pop music industry. Traditionally, the US has operated as the epicenter of pop culture, with American artists seen as the default leaders in music innovation and consumption. Jungkook's ability to generate equivalent or greater metrics challenges that structure. For instance, his singles have charted alongside or above releases from well-established American artists on Billboard's Hot 100 and Spotify's global charts. In such cases, even if unintentionally, comparisons arise in media and fan communities, positioning Jungkook as a direct rival in terms of popularity and relevance. The competitive landscape is further intensified by how record labels interpret these numbers. When a non-American artist achieves comparable success, American executives reevaluate investment strategies. This reevaluation can lead to tension among domestic artists who are accustomed to receiving top-tier promotional resources. If Jungkook's release coincides with a major American release and outperforms it, it may lead to reduced visibility or lower priority within internal promotional pipelines. Moreover, the transparency of streaming data makes these comparisons public and undeniable. Listeners and fans have access to real-time analytics, daily streaming counts, playlist additions, chart placements, which increases accountability for artists and their teams. American pop stars, especially those who rely on established industry channels, may find this transparency frustrating when competing against an artist like Jungkook, whose success is propelled by an international community not bound by regional limitations. In conclusion, Jungkook's digital presence and performance on global streaming platforms have redefined how success is measured in modern pop music. His ability to perform on par with top-tier American artists creates inevitable competition and, potentially, a sense of industry unease among those unaccustomed to sharing the global spotlight with non-Western counterparts. Reason 2. The strategic impact of Jungkook's brand power in fashion and media. Beyond music, Jungkook's visibility in the fashion and media landscape has contributed to his growing cultural and commercial impact, positioning him as a multi-industry figure. His collaboration with Calvin Klein stands as one of the most prominent examples of a musician effectively crossing over into fashion while maintaining credibility in both fields. This dual influence complicates the branding ecosystem, where American artists have traditionally dominated high-profile partnerships with global companies. Fashion campaigns are no longer just about aesthetics. They are measured through engagement, product conversions, and online reach. Jungkook's Calvin Klein campaign led to significant sales increases and media coverage, drawing attention from fashion insiders and casual consumers alike. The scale of this campaign's success, especially in markets like Asia, Europe, and North America, indicated a shift in consumer influence. American celebrities who were once the go-to faces for such campaigns may now find themselves evaluated against new international standards, where digital influence often trumps legacy fame. This shift can introduce subtle competition. If a global brand sees better performance metrics from Jungkook's campaign than from a previous American campaign, marketing strategies may change. Future budgets may prioritize K-pop stars or other global talents with measurable ROI. American artists, whose brand value is tightly linked to sponsorships and endorsements, may perceive this transition as a threat, not necessarily to their personal status, but to their strategic value in a competitive marketplace. Media coverage further amplifies this effect. Jungkook's appearances in fashion editorials, interviews, and public events have been consistently well-received, generating high traffic and engagement. His image has become synonymous with modern youth culture, crossing language barriers and market segments. In comparison, American artists who rely heavily on traditional PR cycles may experience a decline in media dominance, especially when competing with content generated around figures like Jungkook, who command spontaneous and high-volume global attention. Additionally, fan-driven marketing has added a new layer to this competition. Jungkook's fanbase frequently organizes global campaigns, billboards, and social trends that contribute to the visibility of his partnerships. These efforts, often unpaid and organic, outperform some paid media campaigns by American artists. For brands evaluating long-term collaborators, this level of support is increasingly attractive. It's not about replacing American artists, but rather expanding the influencer pool, where Jungkook now stands as a primary candidate. To summarize, Jungkook's expanding presence in fashion and media directly affects the positioning of American artists in adjacent industries. As brands and media outlets recognize the tangible results of working with a global artist like Jungkook, the environment becomes more competitive. For some American artists, this shift may be interpreted as a threat to their long-established influence in the commercial ecosystem. Reason 1. Shifting creative standards and global industry recognition. The final reason centers on how Jungkook represents an evolving standard for creativity, authenticity, and artistic growth within the global entertainment industry. While many American pop artists operate within long-standing systems involving large writing teams, major label production cycles, and carefully curated public images, Jungkook's career trajectory offers a contrast. His work often includes active participation in songwriting, vocal production, and visual storytelling, elements that resonate with a modern audience increasingly interested in artist-led projects. This creative autonomy has not gone unnoticed by industry peers and executives. Jungkook's solo material is often praised not only for its commercial success, but also for its artistic ambition. His willingness to explore new genres, experiment with vocal techniques, and collaborate across cultural lines positions him as a dynamic and adaptable performer. These traits align with shifting expectations in the industry, where authenticity and innovation are becoming as important as commercial viability. In contrast, some American artists have been criticized for producing formulaic content or relying heavily on nostalgic branding. When these artists are compared to someone like Jungkook, who is perceived as actively shaping his musical identity, the difference in perception can influence both public and industry opinion. This perception doesn't necessarily reflect artistic merit, but reveals how narratives around creativity are shifting. Artists who were once praised for polished, label-backed projects may now appear less relevant in an era dominated by self-expression and global influence. Jungkook's recognition by Western institutions further reinforces his legitimacy. He has been invited to perform at major U.S. award shows, featured in global festival lineups, and acknowledged by major music publications. These endorsements are not handed out lightly and often come after internal vetting by editorial boards and event committees. When a non-American artist receives such attention, it signals to the rest of the industry that traditional boundaries are breaking down. This can indirectly impact how American artists view their own positioning. Being outperformed on charts is one issue, but being redefined in terms of creativity and global relevance is more foundational. It raises questions about the longevity of older promotional models and whether newer, more international approaches will become the new standard. Furthermore, Jungkook's global visibility may influence how young artists and emerging markets view the U.S. industry. Instead of aspiring only to be accepted by American audiences, they may look to Jungkook as a blueprint for building global careers rooted in local authenticity. This changes the cultural flow of influence. Rather than American pop dictating global trends, artists like Jungkook contribute to a more horizontal, interconnected industry landscape. In sum, Jungkook's artistic development and the recognition he receives from both fans and industry institutions suggest a redefinition of what constitutes modern pop stardom. American artists who built their careers under previous models may find themselves needing to adapt, not because of personal rivalry, but because the global industry is evolving in real time. For some, this evolution may trigger discomfort, especially if they see their influence shifting in response to new, internationally driven standards.